Hello, welcome back. I'm Gina Green. I am a K through 2 MOI teacher, moderately intellectually disabled. I started this channel, Gigi's Sped Classroom Connection, in order to provide my parents and my students with some insight into my classroom about what we do in our classroom with different things. Because, if I'm a parent, I want to know what's going on in the classroom, so that way my parents can see some of the things that we do in the classroom. I know I send the papers home to them and stuff, but still, this kind of gives a little more information about what we're doing and how their child is spending their day. I chose this name because I am a Gigi. And so I wanted to put that in there. And I am a special ed teacher, and I'm making a classroom connection. So that's where my name for my channel came from. And like I said, it started off because of me wanting to connect with my parents and show them things we're doing in my classroom. But it is also a place for other special ed teachers or even some general ed teachers if they want, to come on here and watch it and learn some stuff. It's a way for them to maybe get some ideas, I hope. Or hopefully it's a way for them to say, hey, we do unique learning too, but this is what I do. Let me put a comment in there and let her know we do it this way, or we do this, or whatever. That would be great, because I want to learn from you. And so please, please, please put some comments in there so that I can see, how I'm doing. Am I doing okay? I know these aren't the greatest videos in the world, but I'm just, like I said, I'm just kind of putting it out there to let my parents see what we're doing in the classroom, and to hopefully help some special ed teachers out there get some ideas about some stuff. But everything that I'm putting on here, just remember, are things I'm doing in my classroom. It doesn't necessarily mean it's the right way. It doesn't mean it's the wrong way. It definitely does not mean it's the only way. But I just want to show what I do, and help out any way I can. And so welcome to everybody that is here, whether you're a student's parents, another parent that has students that are disabled in some way, that aren't in my classroom. Welcome to you too. And welcome to my special ed teachers, my general ed teachers, or just anybody that came across this video and decided to take a look at it. So I welcome whoever wants to come and view my videos. And like I said, I'm hoping, somebody gets some kind of information somehow. Some good information, hopefully. So tonight's information is going to be all about the unique learning system, the way we do it in our classroom. And so hopefully you can see what we do. What is Unique Learning System? It is an online curriculum that's designed for students with moderate to severe disabilities. It is aligned with our standards and other standards across the U.S. Because, all the states, they don't have the same standards. And so that's the nice thing about Unique Learning Standard. It does cover, everybody. And that is the reason why it doesn't align at the same time as our standards do. Unfortunately, that would be nice. So in our county, we have to teach our standards in a certain timeline, and the unique learning system follows a certain timeline, and they don't always, happen at the same time. But that's okay, because you know what? If I'm teaching the same thing twice that year, it may be a preview to what we're going to be learning later, or it could be a review of what we've already learned. So it's great that way, because we can get that extra work in. And so we do use it. It doesn't cover all of our standards, just some of them. And so, of course, I do have to supplement with other resources and all. And because of that, I don't use all of unique learning because I don't know where I would fit it in if I tried to use it all. So I pick the items from there that I feel best meet my students' needs. Now, there's other teachers that they are able to get all of it in somehow. I don't know how they do it, but different school districts require different things, and so their standards may be different. They may be on an alternate curriculum even, which I wish was the case here, but it's not. We do teach the same standards that the general education classrooms have to learn. We just do it in a different way. And so this program really helps us with that. So this shows the units that we are doing on unique learning. I didn't get a chance to get a picture of all of them because I can't get, for some reason I cannot minimize that unique learning screen when it's up on my computer, so that I could fit them all in. But it's okay because you don't really need to see all the units. You just need to see what, an idea of what they look like when you open that page. You see those units and you choose the unit, or we choose the unit that we're working on. Right now we're working on the hot sun, so you see it's kind of highlighted because I clicked on it, and so I'll click on it, and then below it are all the things that are in that unit. Now all the units have the same thing. It's just different because it's a different topic. And so with each unit, everything is differentiated and core words are used. There's 3 levels on each unit of all the worksheets. So we go through and we decide what we're going to do with each unit. Most of the time I do basically the same thing each unit, but I do sometimes choose extra work for that unit and work on it. It just depends on what other things that I have going on at the time to supplement the standards I'm teaching at the time. And so I have the basic ones that I teach all the time with each unit, and then I have the ones that I'll pull, as extra. It just depends. And so let's take a look and see kind of what are some of the things that I'm going to be teaching from this unit right here. So they have 2 books. They have a leveled book and they have a easy read book. And so we always start with a book. But before we start the book, the first thing we do, of course, is our pre-test. I'm going to do another video about the pre and the post-test because, and the benchmarks, because if I tried to fit it all in one video, boy, you'd be here for a while, and I don't think you want to be here that long. This is going to be long enough as it is. So, we do the pre-test, and then we'll do our first book, which is our leveled book. And for this unit, it's called Sky Pup Explores the Sun, and this is what the cover of it looks like. When we read a book, I always tell them who the author is and who the artist was who illustrated that book, who drew the pictures. Because, those are part of our standards, is knowing those things about books. And so we'll do that. And sometimes this will be in a paper version because Unique Learning, that's the great thing about it. It has PDF versions that you can print off, and then it's an online, so you can do it online as well. And so sometimes we do it online, sometimes we do it on paper. It just depends, on I guess what my mood is, what I want to do. Am I gonna when I make up my lesson plans, how do I want to teach it this week? And so my kids love doing it on the board because they get to get up and they get to go up to the board and point to the answers. And I don't know, they just love doing that, and they're good at it when they do it too. So they do really well with that. And they do well with the paper too. And I have to have paper copies. I can't just do board work all the time. But if I did, they get bored with that anyway, right? So you got to keep it different going on. Change it up. So I have to have that paper though, because I have to send home papers to parents. They got to see what's going on, and I got to keep data notebooks. So I have to put them work samples in there. So I got to put work samples on our bulletin board in the classroom. So I can't hang our active board everywhere. So yeah, we do both. So Sky Pup Explores the Sun is the first book in this unit, and so we'll read it a couple of weeks, and so a few times during those 2 weeks, and we'll read it, and then then we'll take the comprehension test on it, and then for the last 2 weeks of the month or the unit, we'll do the next book. So this is the easy read book, the second book. And for this unit, it's called A Sunny Day at the Beach. And we'll read it a couple of weeks, and then we'll take the comprehension test on it as well, the same that we do with our leveled book. So basically, we do the same thing with both books. We read them, take comprehension tests, and then we do the spelling list worksheets with both books, and the word work with both books. And so basically the unit is just split into two, kind of. The first part of the time is everything having to do with the level book. The second part is having to do with the easy read book. And so that's what we will do with our books. Now this is the same book. I just wanted to show you what it looks like when we put it on the board, online version. So when I put it on my active board, you see all this stuff around it, and we are able to click on everything and change the pages. We can listen to Unique Learning read the story, or I can read the story, which usually I'm the one that reads it, because I want to be honest, the Unique Learning is not very engaging for the students, so they really don't like listening to it being read to them. They rather me being the one to read to them. So usually I'm the one that reads to them. But I just wanted you to see the difference. I mean, there's not much of a difference, but just kind of give you to see what we see when we put it on the board. Okay, here are the comprehension questions. This is what they look like. Like I said, this is a differentiated program, so it has different levels. It has 3 levels with each assignment. And so this is the comprehension quiz. Okay, so it said this one goes with Sky Pup Explores the Sun book. This is our level book comprehension quiz, but the other book has the same exact type of quizzes. So the first type of quiz is just all words. So my students that are able to read some of the words, sometimes I'll give them this quiz, and it's always one-on-one when we're doing something on the worksheets, on paper worksheets. Now, if we're doing it on the board, I'll do it and have them come up individually and, pick the answers. So if we're doing it one-on-one worksheets, say, if they're able to read a little bit, I might pick this first one. Or I might go ahead and just choose the second one, and it's got pictures for the answers, but not for the question. And so that is a little easier for them, because it does kind of have the pictures to help guide them. And then for the majority of my students, I do use the third comprehension test. It is 1 page per question, and it's bigger print so they can see it better. It does have the core words in the pictures with the words, so it helps them read it. We read it together, and then the students are able to choose whichever answer. Now, on the comprehension quizzes, the choices are already up there, and they choose from the choices. And then I'm going to show you the other worksheets later where it's the cut and paste. But this is the ones that they just choose the answer themselves. Okay? And then if we do it on the board, most of the time I'll also do this third one, because that way only one question at a time pops up, and I'll choose the students to go up and answer the question. And they'll click on, say, it says, who is this story about? Well, we know the title says Sky Pup, so we know Sky Pup is who the story's about. But one of the students might not, or they may just be randomly choosing, because sometimes they do that. And so just say they pick Liam. Well, it's going to go bonk. Nope. Try again. Sky Pup. And then it lights up in yellow, and that's the correct answer. So they enjoy doing that. They like doing it on the board. Okay. Here is some of the worksheets that are from the spelling list. We don't do these a whole lot in our class, but from time to time, I'll pull these out, and we do this first one. My students are not ready to write on their own yet, so this is for higher learners, once they've mastered writing their letters. And so then they're able to start writing the words on the line. But right now, we're not ready for that. That will be in the future. They'll be ready for it. Okay, so we usually use this one, and it's like dotted lines for the words, and the students trace the words. And so this helps with their fine motor skills right there by tracing, and lets them practice tracing those letters in the words. And at the same time, we are talking about our vocabulary words from the story. So it's a good lesson right there. Okay, so this one right here is our spelling list, and on the spelling list it has 3 levels, of course, and this is the way it's set up. Now this first one, I very rarely use this version because the print is a little bit smaller and it requires a smaller, pieces of paper that we glue on. There's a sheet that has the 3 sizes with the same word, 3 different sizes, and to fill in the blanks. And this one I just don't really use. This one I'll use for a few of my students that are able to pick out the words and read without pictures, and for the majority of my students we use this one to have the visuals that they need to help them. And so they would take those words, and I lay them out in front of them, and sometimes I can lay them all out in front of them and just read the sentence and have them find the word. Sometimes I need to have just a few words out, maybe just 2 words out. And then there are some times that I have a student that might have to have only 1 word, so it's an errorless choice. And I say, I'll read the sentence and they'll choose the word and put it on there. So, for example, this one says, the sun is high blank in the sky. We're going to look at our words and say, now what do we see that might work in this sentence? We see the word it's. The sun is high, it's in the sky. We see up. The sun is high up in the sky. Hey, that makes sense. So we would use the word up, and we would use the card that goes with that. And then the same with the other sheet. So the word work is the same pretty much as those worksheets in the same format, but instead of the sentences being filled in, they're being filled in with, it might say, what word rhymes with this word? And it'll give you a word, and you find the word that rhymes with it. And they're the same exact words that were in the spelling list. So they're getting a chance to use those words in the spelling list, in the fill-ins, and in the word work, but in a different way. And it might say, what word begins with this? So we're learning beginning sounds. What word ends in a, or ends like this word? So it might end in a T, say. So ends like this word. And so you find the word that ends in that letter. So beginning sounds, ending sounds, and rhyming words is what the word work covers. And it looks just like the spelling list, except for, like I said, the sentences are different. Now this is our math. And there's a big variety, and I just put a few up here because there's so many different kinds. These are mainly the ones that we use, so that's why I put these up here. Because like I said, I'm showing you what we do in our classroom. So this first one, it's more or less, and so we're counting, and it'll say Chantel has 9 ice cubes, count 9 ice cubes. So you'll count, and then you'll go to the next part, and then we'll find out down here who has more, who has less, and it's got your visuals down here to help you figure out what are they asking for. So we do those type, and then we do this type where they're counting and they can find the number and put it in the box. This sheet is the same as this one, except look, it has a little extra help there. It's actually got the number for them. And so sometimes the students know, okay, I can match this number with this one. Sometimes they don't even realize that, and they'll pick the one they think is the answer, and it won't be the right answer, but it's okay. So we'll use both types of those. And then we have these types, and these are our favorites to do because we get to cut out the numbers and we get to count and paste in the correct number. And it goes all the way up to 20. So 1 through 20, and it's divided up into 3 different worksheets. And then we have these that are the adding, and these you trace the numbers, and then you have to write in the number yourself. But what I do, I save all these numbers over here that I get that are extra, and I have a little box I keep all our numbers in. So we have pretty much any number we need. And then when we're doing this type of work here, some of my students are able to write their numbers, but the majority of them are not. So I will get out these numbers and let them fill in the blanks with them. And so adapt it to what they need. Okay, this is just the tip of the iceberg on what the vocabulary has. Oh my goodness, it's got so many different activities and things to go with it. This is what I put on my focus board in the classroom. For my unique learning focus board, I'll put a copy of the leveled book, I'll put a copy of the easy read book, and then I'll put the vocabulary up there. And so this is our vocabulary, and it's got the visuals with it to show you change from this to this. And cool, dry, heat, light, and melt. And then it's got the definitions. And we'll read the definitions and go over them, and they know what these words are when they hear the story because we've talked about them as we're introducing the story. Okay, this one is a core word board form. Look at here, and it's broken down into different colors. So this is like the little phrases that I use, and then it's change, cool, melt. Those are all verbs. So it's cooling down is what it's meaning, not just it's cool. So, and then it has day, warm, wet, heat, light, sun. So our core words, we love those core words. Okay, and then they also have a sorting activity. Now they have two different ones. They'll have this one with the two boxes separated, and then they have the two circles that are connected, like most Venn diagrams have. And so this one is comparing hard and soft. And so here's our pictures, and we decide is it hard or is it soft, and they'll put it in the correct circle or oval. That's oval. So they put it in the correct one. Okay, this shows you what's listed below the unit. When you click on a unit, you scroll down and you find all these little boxes down here with all the different activities that they have for that unit. Every unit has the same basic activity with it, so it's just the titles are different. So they have the PDF version and they have the Interact version, which is the one we put on the board. So this one has the number sense subtraction, and we'll do subtraction sometimes with our kids, but most of the time we're still on addition. Graphing, we'll do that a lot of times with the students, and it will have them, usually with this, it has them ask around the class. We'll ask around the classroom, say, like, for this one, I think it said, where would you like to go on a sunny day? And so there's 3 choices, and they pick which choice they like the best. And so then there's a little page that you mark to show what each person chose, and then the students will figure out how many chose going to the park, how many chose going to the beach, etc. And so then we'll graph it. And then we'll look at the graph, and then we say, okay, which one had more, which one had less, which one had the same. So it's not just graphing, it's a bunch involved in with that. It's basically telling you how to read the graphs, by finding out more or less and all that. So those are fun activities for the kids to do, and we'll do them. There's math that does the measuring, money, time, geometry, or spatial sense. And then there's algebra and patterns, direction following. I'm tongue-tied tonight, aren't I? So this one is usually a recipe. And this one's oven-dried tomatoes. This one is one that we don't really do hardly ever. It's related content, and so you find books to go along with it outside of unique learning and work on it with this this part. And then the science experiment, it just depends, what the science experiment or the recipe up here is, if we do it or not. We don't always do those, but they're really cool activities for the students to do. Okay, I'm going to show you what the science experiment has. This one shows you this units that we're working on, and it says what melts in the sun. So it gives you a page with all the things you need to do your experiment, and then it tells you what to do with it, and it asks you a question, what do we already know, and then ask a question about it. And of course, our students are nonverbal, so they don't really ask questions, but we kind of have a little discussion together with this. And then it has a page that says, I think it melts in the sun, and it's got yes or no. And so butter, is that butter pat? I'm not sure. Butter pat. Does it melt in the sun? Yes or no? And so the students will decide, is that going to melt in the sun or not? And so they'll go through each item, mark their answers, and that's their hypothesis, because with science, you know, you do a hypothesis, which is an educated guess about what's going to happen. And then this one says, did it melt in the sun? So then, after you do the experiment, you come back and you say yes or no. And then they give us this sheet, which tells us, let's see, what is your question? I can't. Did some melt in the sun and did some not? Or I can't even see this. Did all of them melt in the sun? So yes and no, yes and no. And then it tells you how many of the items melted in the sun, and they have to count how many. So it puts counting in there with that science experiment there. And then this tells you how to do the actual experiment. And then this is an extension that they give you that you can do with the ones that did really well with this experiment, or if you just want to continue and do an extra experiment, you can do the extension with it. So that's what comes with science experiments. Okay, this is for the recipes. So this unit's called Veggie Faces, and this is what it's going to turn out to look like when they're finished. And so these are the different things you need for this recipe. And so I always look at, do my kids eat this? Because I have really, really picky eaters. And so if they're not going to eat it, I'm not going to spend the money on it to have them just waste it. And so it's hard really finding recipes that at least one child's going to eat everything, you know. And sometimes we may just have to leave off something if it's just one or two items that not, or replace it with something I know they'll eat. So it gives us a base idea anyway of what we can do to make some veggie faces. And so this is what the recipes do. And it does give you the warning to always consider the student food allergies and dietary restrictions when preparing recipes. And it tells you how many it serves. This one serves 8. So that's basically everything we do in our classroom with the unique learning and how I use it pretty much. Like I said, we do some of it on the board, some of it in paper. And also, I think I forgot to tell you for the leveled book, sometimes they'll have an adaptive version, which is where we have the same story, but it's set up so you can cut out the pieces and put Velcro on them. And as we're reading the story, the students can take the picture and put it on that page that we're reading that matches that picture. And so that's fun for the kids to do. It gives me a fun file folder activity for them to do just any time during the school year. It doesn't necessarily just have to be when we're studying that unit. And so we'll do the adaptive books with Ed. There's just so much with this unique learning that I'm not able to go through it all. There's one about letter sounds and just so many things. I mean, it's good. There's a lot of things we can do. I wish I had time to do it all. That would be awesome to just go through that whole program. There's journal writing and all the things I talked about already and everything. But I just wanted, for this video anyway, I just wanted to kind of show you the things that we do in our classroom with unique learning. It's a good program, and the next time I talk about unique learning, I'm going to talk about the assessments. So those are the benchmarks that we do 3 times a year. Sometimes we have done them more than 3 times a year, but there's 3 basic times a year we do them, and that way we see the growth from the beginning of the year, the middle of the year, and the end of the year with the benchmarks. And with the pre and post tests, we do them with every unit. We do the pre-test before we start reading and doing any of the worksheets or doing anything with unique learning. And then we do the post-test, which, like I said, I'm going to do another video, but they're exactly the same as the pre-test. And so we do those, and that's where I get my data to see where, you know, what my students are learning and how they're processing what we're doing with unique learning and everything. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something from the video. I know it really wasn't really that informational, but I mean, it just told you what I do, kind of, and what unique learning does have in it. So if you have any questions, I mean, please put it in the comments, and I can, you know, try to get back to you as soon as I can, and, you know, maybe answer that question by providing more information about that particular thing that you want to know about from unique learning. And, you know, if there's something I can improve on, please let me know, because I want to learn. I want to learn. I want to grow. Okay, so help me grow. And please look at some of my other videos and see what you think about those as well. And I will see y'all in the next one.